All right, we've got a mobile first nav bar with some HTML, and all we have is just straight HTML, and the fonts are a little bit on the plain side of things. So if you look here, it's just Times New Roman. And so I want to talk a little bit about Google Fonts and show you how we can spice it up using some free and open source fonts. So I'm going to just click a new tab because I just want more tabs. I'm just going to do Google Fonts. And then it's fonts.google.com or even google.com/fonts. Either one will take you here. I really like this. This is the easy button for fonts and typography. So they're always adding fonts. We have categories here on the right. We can click on featured and it will show you certain featured fonts where they have different categories where they put together some fonts. You could spend a lot of time exploring. I'll let you explore and I'll just show you just some general things that you should know about to add fonts. And you know the difference between a serif and a sans serif font. This is definitely something worth mentioning to students that are new to graphic design or new to web design. And that is a serif font versus a sans serif font. So it's good to you just get a visual here. You look at serif, and you can just make some observations about your fonts. And then we can switch between serif and sans serif and see the difference. Anyone want to explain the difference between the two?
Serifs are the little flags at the end.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Little like the let's look at this Zilla slab. You see that? Sorry, let's get back a little bit. Okay, so you have that A, right? It's got that little flare right there, and it's got the little feet at the bottom. The R has that, and if you look here, sort of the bottom feet sort of create this line, so it kind of helps the reader stay on that line. It's helpful for reading. And of course, the simple explanation is a serif font has serifs, and a sans serif doesn't have serifs. That's how I always explain it to my students to begin with. They're like, thank you for summing that up. All right. I don't know where the search went. Oh, there it is. All right, so sans serif doesn't have it. And they've done usability studies. And actually, interestingly enough, they found that the serif font does better for readability on printed material, and sans serif actually does better at small text for readability on screens. So that was something I did not know.
I've read that might be changing though because the resolution of our screens is getting so much better.
So yes, so yeah, thank you. I would not be surprised.
Can you repeat sans serif? They're saying is better on smaller?
Better for screen.
Sans serif, yeah, for screen. Especially small. Now you're right, the resolution, high density resolutions, which is interesting because since most people are using mobile, it's actually a good thing. That means most people are seeing it with a high density pixel type screen, all in all. Anyway, so okay, so that's this. You can also click display, handwriting. You can look at the difference between them. So let's just do a quick rundown. Monospace is great for code. So a lot of people use a monospace font for code, and what that is every single character is the exact same width, regardless of what it looks like. This S is just as wide as the H, just as wide as the I. That's source code pro. And so usually monospace is best to do like code examples because it kind of stands out a little bit, but it's not necessarily as good for readability. Of course, handwriting is you want to have it look a little bit less formal, a little bit more, relaxed sort of look and feel. And this is a great if you want to, if you're tired of Comic Sans, but you still like the idea of looking handwritten, maybe you want to try some of that. Don't even get me started on Comic Sans, though. You'll never guess where I land on that. All right. Display is for the fancier ones, right? And so my general guideline would say display is fine if you have it for branding or for your header one, something that's really large. You want to make it stand out. So headings could be good. Maybe you want to add some style here or there. But this is not something you want to use for a paragraph of text. This is not for text heavy. And so, yeah, so you got a little thing here. So the other thing here is I just want to show you, so let's say I see lobster a lot now to the point where I know it's lobster when I see it. And so sometimes as soon as I get to that stage, I'm like, okay, I need to stop using this. Because if I know it when I see it, maybe I shouldn't be using it. Unless I've been using it a lot. But I see it a lot. And I was like, oh. For a while, these are called slab type fonts, a little thicker, you know, and those were really wildly popular for headers just a couple of years ago. But I'm guessing we're ready for a slight change. So anyway, so that's display. Some of these are fine, but I would probably, like I said, just use display for like a header or something. So I'm just gonna take a look at this this font right here. I want to click it. I want to learn more about it because I'm thinking, yeah, this could kind of be interesting. So here's our characters. We can see what characters are represented on here. This is good if you want to look at numbers, you want to look at this or that. How are you going to use it? And you scroll down, and here's where it gets interesting. This is what I like about the Google fonts, is you have popular pairings. So what it allows you to do is see how does that font look with other fonts. So this Comfort, I guess we'll call it an Open Sans. Actually, that's not a bad combination. Let's look at Roboto. There it is with Roboto. Here it is with Lato. Here it is with Railway. Here it is with Open Sans Condensed. I don't like that one as much, but I think pretty much all the other ones, I think it's actually kind of a good combination. I like this one. So here's where it gets fun. Okay, so at this point, we have not selected any fonts, but I think I've already decided I want to go with this one. The other thing I want to go with, so I want to go with a readable font for my paragraphs that's a little bit on the larger size, because that's another thing for mobile first. The growing trend has been larger, not smaller, as far as font goes. So I really like this combination. So now what I do is I want to select the Open Sans font. So I click this little plus sign, and now if I click on here, I see that that's Open Sans. Not only that, but it gives me a link tag I can add to my page and CSS for it. But I'm not done because I want the other font. I forgot to select this particular font up here, so I'm just going to click select this font. Now I have two families selected. And here's where it gets cool, is I have one link that links to actually both of these fonts. So all I have to do is just copy this. Copy. And then I go back to my page. And I go create a style tag. So I'm just going to, now the style tag has to be in the head. If it's not in the head, it won't display right. Make sure you do that. And I'm going to use the type attribute. It's text/CSS.
Why are you still using that?
I'm using it because I run errors sometimes when I don't.
Ah,
Yeah. So I don't know if maybe that will change over time. It's I think it's the W3C validator will actually trigger that as an error, or maybe it's it could be the CSS one. I don't know. One of those tends to do that. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm old school and I don't need to anymore. I thought I had an error on it just this past year or so. Whatever. All right, so here's where it becomes interesting. So I skipped a step too. I want to add that link. So I'm just going to paste. Remember, I copied it before. So there's the link. I just copied, pasted it in. Now, it doesn't actually matter whether this appears before or after your style sheet. It'll still work because it's all in the head, I've discovered. And then now the question is, which font do I use in which circumstance? So there's that link again, and I have these two different specify and CSS. Well, this I wanted to use for my headers. And the other one I wanted to use for everything else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply this Open Sans to just the entire body. So like everything that we see is in the body. So if I apply it to the body, everything gets the font. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back here. I'm just going to type body. I'm going to do the curly brackets. And I'm just going to paste. Now, quick thing here is this is called a font stack. That comma means here is our first option. The first one it sees, if it has it, it uses it. If it doesn't, we use this sans serif. And that's just the generic system. It'll just pull out whatever the system uses for the sans serif. So no matter what browser, what computer you're on, it will at the very least show that. If for some reason this link goes down, Google gets hacked or something, I don't know. And so if you have another alternative you'd like to use in here, like let's say, I don't know, what's a good sans serif font that's like, huh? So you can just add that in here, the comma, and then of course let's keep our Mac, let's keep ourselves Mac friendly. What's a good Mac? Helvetica, yeah. And so we could actually add more fonts here, but this is just, these are, everything after the first comma is just fallback. If we don't load one, we try the next. If that doesn't load, try the next. Brief history here. Let's go ahead and save our changes and see what that looks like. Hopefully you weren't staring at that, but I'll hit refresh and hey, look at that. So we already got our first font in there. So now we need the other one and we're going to apply it to all of our headers. I'm going to give you another little quick thing here. So we're going to grab that. I'm going to go back here and now we're going to do something here. I want to add a font to every header I plan on using. That's H1. Now, I'm not going to do it on this document. I'm probably not going to have all the extra headers, but this is something you could take and copy and paste into one of your other web documents, and you'll get those fonts as well. It's definitely worth doing. And then I hit enter, and I'm going to paste that in. Okay, so I just, word of warning, cursive as a fallback turns into Comic Sans in Windows. And I just can't bring myself to do that. It's great for its particular uses. That's all I'll say. Comic Sans is actually really good for dyslexia. It's actually been rated very high. And the reason why is every character is so ugly that they're all unique. There's no confusion over one over another because each one is done differently. It was crazy.
It bypasses certain parts of your language receptors in your brain because you're not operating.
Yeah, I think what it is like the dyslexia, if they look too similar, Q and whatever the other one is. Yeah. Q and P, right? Yeah. So because they've got these extra little weird curves because it was kind of hastily done or whatever. Anyway. Yeah, well, yeah, I should show you the video at some point. I'm going to hit refresh and look, page title now is a little different. Okay. There you have it. So I'll leave you with this code for a moment. You can take a pause. Just pause.